Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stone-Faced Reactions. I'm Theta, back with Banner of the Stars 2. I guess a couple of things up front. One, apologize that it's been so long since I've recorded another episode. If you're watching this on YouTube, obviously you're seeing this week for week, but it's been maybe a week or two since the last time I recorded one of these. And initially, I was recording them basically once a day, so I've kind of fallen off a little bit. Not the show's fault. I think I've even said this implicitly in the Discord before. I feel like Banner of the Stars 2 is doing a lot better already than Banner of the Stars 1 already did. So it's not show quality. In fact, I think it's more down to time constraints. As you might know already, I started this before Griff retired from the channel. Then I picked up a bunch of other co-hosts that I've been recording a lot of stuff with. And as it turns out, I am recording more stuff than I have the time in the day to edit. So I'm kind of getting a little bit bogged down. Not, it's one of those good problems to have, so I am not complaining at all. However, at the same time, I have been unable to maintain my personal solo reaction stuff. So that's why. Um, Also, kind of a little backseat here. The message scheduler system that I use on the Discord. So if you're not on the Discord and you want to be alerted to when new things go up, especially if you're a Patreon member, the system I have on the Discord to alert people to new Patreon uploads, um, I've kind of hit the outer limit on the amount of days out I can get on that, which is basically half a year. Initially, I had wanted to make it so these released daily, continue that whole everyday new reaction thing from the solo perspective. Unfortunately, when Griff retired, I was unable to maintain that. What were we doing? 9 different individual series a week, so that we were able to do one each day and a couple on 2 different days. That was the goal back then. Now, since I'm dealing with a different crew and I don't want to overwhelm them, that's what's going on there. We're doing maybe, what, four, five shows a week, which means that I needed to find other things to fill in the old schedule to maintain a new release every day. I know this is kind of turning into a channel update thing, but maybe I'll just include that in the title. Banner of the Stars, Episode 3 slash channel update. Anyway, yeah. So I had to fill in where Legend of the Galactic Hero was, Legend of the Galactic Heroes, sorry, was until we get back to that. My current plan for that, by the way, if you're one of those people, is to get lessons on that with me. But I have to wait till we finish Macross, and we are, I want to say, approaching halfway through. There's a bunch of series in Macross that only have a couple of episodes apiece, and then a bunch of movies, and then only a few other, like, 40, 50 episode series. Okay, maybe we're like a third of the way, now that I think about it. So after that, definitely going to go into Legend of the Galactic Heroes. So, yeah, that has been the reason for all of that. Sorry. I did not intend to do a whole channel update here in the middle of Banner of the Stars 2 Episode 3. I don't know who's going to notice this. Plus, by the time this comes out, it will be so far past. We might even be doing Legend of the Galactic Heroes by then. Anyway, um, recap on last time. I know it's been a couple of weeks, but we were so early into the series that I feel like we're basically still at the beginning of the story, which is to say that Lafiel here has gotten administrationship of a former prison planet, and the people there cannot come to grips on who should be the leader. There are like 4 different people, and we're going with the former administration. But I believe the plan is to negotiate then with the other 3 leaders. Everybody's basically on a single island, and yeah, the middle of the island is filled with eunuchs. The two opposite sides are one is all men, one the other is all women. They're about to go to war with each other, and the former administration is on the southern end of the island, and they want to evacuate. And I believe that is where we left off last time, the whole evacuation thing. Otherwise, our flash forward that we got in the first episode is still pending. Every season, we get a new flash forward. They're usually space battles. This time, looks like Jinto is about to die. So, we're waiting for that to happen. Otherwise, I believe on the next time on, if memory serves, it is going to be the actual meeting between all the leaders. I remember because the camera does a very sexist pan over the only woman in the room. Well, I guess the only other woman in the room besides Lafiel. Let's see. What else we have? I believe the board has been updated. First off, we start with Lafiel, follow the new connected blue line, open over to Lafiel's dad, who I cannot remember if he got named or not. I'm pretty sure he didn't. And Duhail, Lafiel's little brother, who has a real complex about living up to Lafiel's legacy. I don't really know. Lafiel's dad is all about you can live your life, that sort of thing. Otherwise, I believe we have the green line from the Empress now connected to Rulif, the fleet commander, who I kind of didn't realize was a fleet commander. Like, the Admiral Rulif's second fleet. I thought for some reason. Oh, sorry. That's when I realized it. In the other intros, they were calling it the Rulif fleet or something like that. Didn't realize it was named after him. And of course, white line attached to Abriel to indicate we don't really know what the relationship is to Gil here, the administrator I was talking about before, and of course the other three who we are now in contention with, who are obviously all enemies of one another because we haven't seen any like political mechanizations coming at play here. Like, I don't think this dude is allied in secret to any of these people, but I think that's what we're about to meet with this episode, right? So, other than that, that is. Oh, can't zoom out far enough, apparently. Other than that, that is everybody I think we've got up until now. And I think I've rambled on now for 7 minutes, which I don't know why, but that tends to be my average ramble. If I was going to time it out, I think past episodes, I think I recorded just another episode today, and I rambled for 7 minutes before I caught myself. So, there we are. You got a channel update for no reason, and you got a update on Banner of the Stars, where we're at in that. So, without further ado, I think it's time to just go ahead and get into it. I remember I've seen this part before, but it's been so long I can't remember if I've seen any of these specifics. Okay, ambassador, not administrator. Still don't know what Siyun means in the Ab language. They never said that they were the worst prisoners imaginable. But I guess if you're, sterilizing them, it's probably implied. Feels like an assault is about to happen. Or not. So the way we shifted in, where like you can only see this much, I expected somebody to jump out Trojan horse style. Considering how heavily armed they are, and I believe last time we were shown that the prisoners had what appeared to be like 19th century flintlock or something like that. I mean, it's like the British Army from the War of Independence had to go up against the Starship Troopers. It's the feeling I get here. I guess if you don't have artificial gravity, then it might seem inhumane. Because you'd permanently be weakening their bodies so they could never go back to a planet again. Plus the radiation. I don't even know if that applies. Yeah, you're literally bombing them. Like, no parachutes or anything. Those people are dead. What about the people or the buildings? I mean, I don't blame them. Yeah, fuck that guy. Or woman, I can't tell. I mean, honestly, the same method to fight the people with the guns would be the same method you're feeding them with. You're bombing them and feeding them at the same time. There's some message going on here. I can't tell. Something I meant to say at the very beginning. If you see me doing this a lot, I apologize. Emigration plan. Okay, so we are in that. Yeah, I apologize for the neck thing. Obviously, if you've known me long enough or you watch the channel long enough, you can see the scarring I have here from many, many throat surgeries due to cancer. Which tends to be that it causes a lot of pain constantly over here, but I have sympathetic pains over here, which causes me to do this a lot, trying to get it out of the way. And I mean, it just causes a lot of pain all throughout the head, so if you see me making weird movements like this all the time, especially in the fast forwards that I do for the notes, that's where that comes from. I mean, there's no explaining being weird, I'm just weird. Just know that. Yeah, this really is just the episode where I'm just gonna pour out all my thoughts that have nothing to do with anything. At least when the show is in the show, I will be keeping it confined to that. So I apologize. She said I don't feel like it.
嫌だなどとおっしゃられても。とにかく、御身とこれ以上話すことはない。残念ですな。しかし私は諦めませんぞ。
Sorry, my mind was already drifting back to the food drops. It's like, why don't you just drop them outside the cities? Let the people go pick them up. Oh, that's right. I think last episode too, we got a, this was the last time I saw Jinto thing.
それよりもっと重大なことがあるんだ。何だ？領民たちが移住を希望している。それだけか。それが2万人以上だって言うんだよ。そうか。そうかって2万人だよ。君の感想はそれだけかい？大したことじゃないだろう。帰りの輸送艦に乗せればいいだけのことじゃないか。でも移住先はそれから決めなきゃいけないんだ。捕虜収容所で何か問題か？捕虜収容所。なんだ？行政長官が移住したら囚人が領民代表に？そうなるな。
I thought the 20,000 were from the administrative people and the guards and whatnot. Not like the most population. Not the prisoners. Okay, I was right.
主に乗り込んでいた船を失った兵士を収容するための施設なので、そう呼ばれているだけなんです。言ってみれば、自分が移住する場所を決めるまでの一時的な住居なんですよ。
つまりそこからどこに移住しようと自由なのか？
ええ。移住先の領民政府が受け入れを承諾すればの話ですが。
なるほど。それでその惑星の予備知識はもらえるんだろうね。
無論です。
それでは内容を見て検討する。なるべく早く返事をする。
I hope he really is former administration and not just some crook that took over.
次の領民代表を決めていただきたいのですが。艦長、お疲れではありませんか？別に疲れてなどいない。何かあればお呼びしますから、お休みになられては。実質で座ってるか、ここで座ってるかの違いだ。体の負担は変わらない。まあ、そうかもしれませんが。私がここにいては邪魔か？そんなことはありませんよ。ただ、昔のことを思い出して。昔のこと？ええ。初めて交易に出た時のことですよ。どこかの大型船で二等航法士でもしてからならよかったのでしょう。
See, the camera pans here are unnecessary.
金を借りましてね。
I think that's the first time they've accentuated her butt, though.
もちろん小さな船ですが、あの時私はどうしても戦況から離れることができませんでした。眠る時もか？はい。乗組員たちは忠告してくれたのですが、私は聞く耳を持ちませんでしてね。目的地について肝心の取引にかかる頃にはもうフラフラでしたよ。おかげで随分損をしました。私は自分の部屋でたっぷり眠ってるぞ。昔の私よりはマシですね。私はもう除任されてから。
I don't know when the show got so fucking horny. Sometime during Banner of the Stars 1.
もう少し余裕を持つべきだと感じますね。そなたも私を子供扱いするんだな。
I certainly don't think anybody was sexualized in Crest of the Stars.
正確には張り切りすぎている若者。張り切りすぎているのか、私は。そう見えますよ。張り切っているつもりなどない。任されたからにはきちんとこなすつもりでいるが、もともと領主代行なんて気が進まない役どころなんだ。どうぞ。冷えてますよ。そなたは一人でいるとき。
I mean, I guess there's also the element of this is all of the female romantic interests in the bridge crew, right? Her drinking buddy is Samson. I think they're being associated as romance partners.
毎日知っている人間に片っ端から。それに私自身は戦場に出ていますが、商売も残しているんです。そのために事務的なものもしたためねばなりません。飽きないのか？書くよりも返事を見るのが楽しみですね。手紙を出すのは返事をもらいたいがためです。
I guess this came out in the 90s, right? So in that way, she's kind of in that instant messenger era, except that she's just writing messages instead of electronically writing them.
ここのところ毎日のように会っている艦長たちには出席を期待できそうにありませんから。そうだな。そなたが戦死するとしたら船が撃沈される時だ。ところで本当にお休みにならない。
If she dies in battle, there's a chance that all of you will be dead too.
私は一応勤務中ですよ。一応であろ。
Literally, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't make all the people who would attend your funeral be on the same place that you died.
出すがよい。領主代行。こちらは地上世界の領主副代行です。どうした？先日話した移住の件、予定表ができたので送るよ。わかった。それにしてもそなた、少し疲れているようだな。少しどころじゃないよ。私もそちらに降りようか。いや、大丈夫だよ。君はそこにいた方がいい。そうか。とにかく第一陣は12000人の見込み。
Did he always have a ring on his hand?
世界から軌道上への輸送はダークセスで何回かに分けて行う。そこから先の輸送艦の受け入れ体制は大丈夫かな。物資を輸送する船だからな。
They didn't have a secret marriage ceremony I'm not aware of, did they?
輸送隊司令が言うには8000人が限度だそうだ。じゃあ新しい船を手配するの？そうしなければならないだろうな。けれど最初の8000人には乗っていってもらう。説得してみるよ。居住性に関する資料をもらえるかな。わかった。輸送隊から直接そなたに送付させる。頼むよ。あ、それともう一つ、領民代表の継承順位表というのを受け取ったので、これも送る。内容はもちろんのこと、順位表が存在すること自体、囚人たちに内緒にしておいてほしいそうだ。それはつまり、今の領民政府が立ち去った後の領民代表が記されているのか？いや、そうじゃない。もしも彼の身に事故があった場合、責任を持って移住の指揮を取る者の名が連ねてある。看守たちが移民してしまえば。
That's not a good.
8000人しか乗れないなら最初からそう言ったらどうだね。名簿を作り直さなければならない。
Yeah, the whole 8,000 thing ain't great either, because it means you're going to be reducing incrementally how many guards are present, to the point where the prisoners are going to feel like it's worthwhile to try and overwhelm.
誠実な方ね、伯爵閣下は。だってそうでしょ。私たちを騙して戦争に押し込んで安上がりに済ますこともできたのに、わざわざ船を呼び寄せてくださるというんですから。皆さんはすでに大事な我が帝国の領民ですから。でね、その8000人枠、行政庁の方でいらないとおっしゃるのなら、こちらに回してくれません？
いらないとは言っていない。それに君たちが移住するとは聞いていないぞ。
ええ、言う機会がなかったんですもの。ここではっきりと宣言します。我々西部共生区の居住者はすべて第二ロブナスから政経外へ退去します。
そんなことは許されない。
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're all criminals.
少しは被害者にすまないと思わないのか。反省するような人間ならそもそも放り込まれることもないでしょうに。この隔離惑星に。
Somebody would have to go through the list of their proposed crimes and reweigh them to the justice system, I imagine, right?
ただ他の地上世界へ移住できるかどうかは受け入れ先の領民政府が決定権を持ちます。言いにくいのですが。
Oh,
気にせずにおっしゃってください。
that feels like a
過去に重犯罪歴の
problem.
方を歓迎する世界があるとは思えませんね。この陰気な惑星に比べればどこだって天国よ。
こいつらはそこでもきっと犯罪を起こすぞ。本当にいいのかね。それとも帝国は地上世界での犯罪など気にかけないというのか。
気にかけないだろうな。聞いた話では。
God, I hate to say it, but this really just amounts to let the states decide for you, American viewers, I guess.
ある標準的な捕虜収容所では全ての犯罪の最高刑は死刑だそうです。
こんな気晴らしの詐欺でも。
しつこい男を軽く殺しただけでも。詐欺は最低10年の重労働刑、殺人は最低25年の重労働刑、執行猶予という概念はありません。
移住を撤回するかね。
いやよ、 とにかくここよりはマシ。悪いことしなきゃいいんでしょ。ここはもうすぐ地獄になるのよ。
聞き捨てなりませんね。あなたは出ていくお
Yeah,
つもり
camera.
なんだが
This is the camera angle I
ここ
remember.
に残るのですよ。そして理想的な社会を築くつもりです。
アンガスンと一緒に。
Yeah,
ま、頑張ってちょうだい。
あなた方にも
the male faction. The guy who's not present
私
here.
たちが去ればあなたが領民代表に決まり、アンガスンが納得するとは思えないけれど、邪魔者が一人消えるのよ。
あなた方がいなければこの惑星の未来がなくなる。子供を産めるのはあなた方だけなんですよ。
ふざけないでよ。じゃあ何？私らは子供を作るためだけに必要ってわけ？家畜じゃないわよ、私らは。これで
I mean, he represents the faction who all chose to get neutered.
言い方が適切を変えたことを認めるのにやぶさかではありませんがね。受胎可能な女性がいなくなったらこの惑星の未来はどうなるのです？
I mean, I'm just saying, additionally, whatever he meant by that, he's incapable of doing himself.
人工出産技術なら安価で提供できますよ。どうやら検討する価値もないみたいだな。
とにかく私たちは移住する。いいわね、行政長官。
仕方あるまい。だが優先権は我々にある。まず非職員、次に職員、最後に君たちだ。
そんなの納得いかないわ。あんたたち好き好んでここに住んでいたわけでしょ。私たちは無理やり連れてこられたのよ。
むちゃくちゃだ、君の論理は。犯罪者のくせに被害者みたいな顔をするんじゃない。
話にならない。
This camera is doing some Gurren Lagann levels of
情勢枠について
sexism.
二人きりで会見できません？
どうしてもということなら。しかしその前にはっきりしておきますが、乗船するには2つのものが必要です。
何？
本人の意思と領民政府の許可です。
そういうことだ。念のために言っておくと、領民政府というのは私が代表しているもののことだ。色仕掛けなど無駄だぞ。
なんて下劣な。自分の発想を呪いなさい。第一、この伯爵閣下は同性愛者かもしれないじゃない。同性愛者なの？
答えなくちゃいけないのかな。
答える必要などない。議題とは無関係だ。
I think he's bisexual. I think I put that down in my notes from before. I think Jinto is bisexual. Not that it matters.
ああ、あくまで伯爵閣下を垂らし込もうとしていることにしたいのね。この際だからはっきり言っておくけどね、あんた評判悪いわよ。
当たり前だ。受験者の人気を取るのが私の仕事じゃない。
職権乱用が仕事だっていうの。
私がいつ職権を乱用した？誹謗中傷は許さん。
じゃあ言ってあげるわよ、この役立たん。いい加減にしてください。
お願いですから落ち着いてください。
Sam's is ready to throw down.
ために言っておきますが、僕と裏取引したって何もいいことはありませんよ。僕たちはあくまで領民政府の要請で動くという枠組みを変えるつもりはありません。なんといっても僕は領主副代行に過ぎないんですから。
こりゃいい。君は軌道上の殿下にこそ同性愛者かどうかを聞くべきだったな。
お口が過ぎませんか？
いや、失礼。確かに口が滑ったようだ。
As much of a dick as he seems, like kind of funny enough. I enjoy him.
すぐ不敬罪で処刑されるべきだわ。不敬罪あるんでしょ？
ああ、ま
あんたは破滅よ、メイディ。
でも帝国の法は領民には適用されませんよ。
そういうことだ。だいたい同性愛がどうとか言い出したのは君ではないか。
This is just a dumb conversation. I was going to say it seems more to the benefit of trying to evacuate or immigrate the prisoners first before the staff.
もちろん違います。でもそろそろ落ち着いて本題に戻ることにします。
That way you reduce the risk of an uprising or how powerful any attack could be by reducing the number of combatants that possibly could exist, and thus retaining the 20,000 guards you have on hand to maintain it against those lingering threats.
詐欺師の話を素直に信じるほど焼きは回ってないわよ。
確かに気づかなかったな。わかった。私は最後の便で去るつもりだ。その前に君たちを移住させよう。
本当なの？
さすがは行政長官、話がわかるわね。
See? I like that guy.
百閣下
Not for
意見
much, but I
表を
like
修
him, I
正しなけ
guess.
ればならないようだな。
増えるんですね。大丈夫よ。だって西部共生区は一番人口が少ないんですもの。どのくらいですか？そうね、10万人くらい。現在地、デュレイも013門まで。
That's different.
行動を開始します。各艦高速連絡艇
They've got the least amount of population at 100,000. We can only move 8,000 at a time. That's a problem.
司令これを質量波観測器をご覧ください。
どうした？現在時空放送を確認中。推定で2枚以上は確実です。
敵時空砲軍の総質量が出ました。40個分艦隊相当。天の川門軍中心部に向かうようです。
直ちに連絡艇を発進させよ。本隊に知らせねばならん。了解。
そしてその時は来た。
Alright, so 40 squadrons. That is about 4 times. Wait, no, 3 times less than the major battle we had at the end of last season. So, assuming. Oh, no, we know that we won with less forces last time, meaning that we didn't suffer all the losses that they did. And I believe a couple episodes back, we already showed the plan of being able to pull back our Operation Hunter forces to be able to reinforce any specific point that was under attack. So we should still be able to pull back and then overwhelm these 40 fleets. 40 squadrons, right? Shouldn't be a problem. I think the problem there was, oh, they're finally doing something. Now send the alert back to DeSanyo and crew, and hopefully they're not playing some Days of Our Lives bullshit back there. Otherwise, I guess the problem is that they've sent their fleets upstream, up mountain, whatever it is, according to that previous description of how the gate system and the whole map of the galaxy works. That if they're coming out of the center of the Milky Way gates, that they'd have a much easier time expanding out from there. I guess that means they're traveling at higher speeds at that point, coming out of those gates, than the reactionary fleets would be.
情報が来るのが早いか、俺たちが激突するのが早いか、分かったものではないな。
覚悟を決めるしかないようだ。
ですがこの政権に滞在してもう2ヶ月ですからね。
伯爵閣下が。
ええ、
反乱だ。すぐ来てほしい。
そう来なくっちゃ。
Okay. I was thrown by that. I don't know why there's suddenly a blue screen at the very end of the episode. Yeah. So apparently there's gonna be a rebellion. So I don't really know how to handle this. My thing is I was looking forwards to the isolated, single planet, dealing with the population sort of thing. It really brought in the scope, right? That's why I was really liking Banner of the Stars 2 more than last season, where last season just like, let's shoot everywhere. Let's look at what everyone's doing. Let's make the scope of this super large, even though we're only focusing on one ship, one system. Well, we're kind of doing that again. Now we're looking back at the fleet action, and I could be honest with you here, I do not give a shit about the fleet action. This is like... Okay, when Crest of the Stars was first sold to me, it was sold to me as, hey, it's like Legend of the Galactic Heroes, but the point of view is on the people on the ground, right? Well, now our people who are on the ground are like planetary administrators or royalty, and that's exactly like Legend of the Galactic Heroes. And you know what else? Legend of the Galactic Heroes, even in the sped through confusing ass version that is the new thesis, is easier to keep track of what's going on in space and who's doing what where than this is. So, Banner of the Stars does not handle its fleet action shit very well. And I'll be fair, I'm gonna be fair both ways. It handles its character relationships better, I feel like, than Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Legend of the Galactic Heroes is constantly too filled with the amount of people it's trying to keep track of. Again, the new thesis. I don't know the original. Maybe someday. But this is more compact. I feel like this one handles its characters' relationships better when it focuses on it. And the problem is that it's choosing not to do the thing that it's good at, to focus on the thing that it's bad at. And I really wanted to window in its focus this whole planetary, like, the parts that I said were dumb about the negotiation that I talked over, saying this is what they should do, and then turned back to look and they started doing the things I said. There you go. Obviously, I mean, I'm not the smartest bulb in the bunch, so if I think it's good and then they do it, obviously I'm going to think it's good. If they do something better than what I could think of, great, that's even better. But when we turn our focus away from the most interesting thing to happen since Crest of the Stars, I don't know where to go anymore. I'm hoping that this is a I'm hoping this is a background thing, right? That this is what we look to for 5 minutes in an episode, and that's why when we turn back to Jinto's problems, that Jinto is going to be like, oh no, we can't get the ships to evacuate the amount of people that we need to evacuate because these other things are happening elsewhere. And it'll be like, oh yeah, we saw those things. We saw those things happen. That's how we know they're happening. That would be enough. If we spend more than 5 minutes in an episode dealing with fleet actions, just to know that why Jinto's on the problem here or why Lafiel can't call in the reinforcements she needs to handle like a rebellion, it's too much time. We need more time on the planet, more time with relationships, more time with diplomacy and negotiations, and establishing these characters and why we need to care about them. Less time with the fleets. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, it's probably been 7 minutes of ramble. That's my new norm. So, yeah. Uh, Obviously, now it's time to go into the notes. So, I'll see ya on the other side of that. Here we go. Alright, back from the notes. I don't think there was really all that much more that I already talked about. But of course, most of the note taking is really just so that I can go back over what I've already written in the future, and I might have already forgotten what happened in the episode, and I need to cross-reference. So I think it's happened before. Like Crest of the Stars had a whole thing about one planet's like rhyme about the Yob, and they rename that planet later in Banner of the Stars, and I think, oh, that sounds familiar, and I look it up, and boom, it's in my notes. So sometimes these things do come in handy. Let's see. I stupidly said I didn't know who Jinto was talking to in the beginning bit, where they were carpet bombing the inmates with food. Well, I must have talked over the part when they introduced her as Miss Fazoon. I was saying that, oh, I don't know who this guy is, or so I've said something about them. I said I can't tell if they're a guy or a woman, and well, they identify as a woman. I just want to make a note of that. I was stupid and I did not notice. So, Lobnad 2 is a prison world where all the inhabitants live on just one island, with walls separating them into sectors and water-based watchtowers with guns on them to prevent the prisoners from moving across the sea. Because, as they said, residential planets are a precious commodity, a commodity that this planet isn't using, and that its active free population wants to immigrate away from, rather than using its unused inhabited lands away from the prison island. Seems like some sort of hypocrisy at work here. That, or I guess, in retrospect now in my mind, seeing all of the seagulls, I guess we're going to call them, landing on the guns might imply that the guns were supposed to be automatic and that they're all just not working, and thus nobody has any faith in the fact that this whole thing would work to keep the prisoners out. Like, settle somewhere else on the planet and suddenly the prisoners are going to break out and overrun you. I don't know. Seeing the Eastern Detention Center from the air, there was absolutely no reason that they couldn't have performed a safe drop on the outskirts of the center. It's a clear, open concrete block filled with people that they are just carpet bombing with food. They clearly care more about the food than the people they crush with it. Given the statistics that they spew out during the drop, I mean, about how much of the food's going to be safe and how much of it will be salvageable versus no statistics about how many people are killed or, I don't know anything else about the infrastructure of the detention center to know what else they would have dropped out statistic wise. In my mind, they could do a flyby and or sound some alert before then dropping the food into the woods or fields surrounding the center. I think this scene is meant to show the apathy of the staff, if not implicate them in crimes as bad as or worse than the criminals they are overseeing. I mean, if they're willfully killing uh, their charges, that's got to be a crime in itself, right? I'm glad Gual acquiesced to what I thought was the more reasonable plan in the beginning, which was basically to move out the prisoner population before the staff and guards. It makes more sense from a safety standpoint, at least before we found out that there were at least 15 times as many prisoners as there were staff. 100,000 in the smallest section versus the 20,000 staff. 3 districts would mean 300,000 minimum. But we know that there is more than that. If the 100,000 is the smallest, obviously, then the larger ones could have any number, at least so long as it's more than 100,000. This is like a puzzle. So, I mean, there's obviously some sort of variable math you could do here to figure it out, but I'm not that smart. Transferring them at 8,000 per, assuming all we could get were the transports on hand due to the whole fleet action we saw. That'd be over 30 trips just for the minimum number, assuming no disruptions, which we already heard there will be since the next time on said Rebellion. The conversation happening in the final scenes about the immigration plans perfectly suits the scenes of the crabs on the beach eating the fish. Feels like a visual metaphor for the prisoners coming together for a common cause, while at the same time implying the inevitable crab bucket scenario, where a bunch of crabs will prevent one another from escaping from a bucket that they're all placed into. If for somehow you've never encountered that before, just Google crab bucket. It's a pretty common meme, and it's also pretty real. It's why you don't have to cover up the top of a bucket or any container that you put crabs into, they will stop themselves from escaping. It's interesting to note that the Ab Empire has laws for lèse-majesté, which is basically denoting that insulting the ruling class is a punishable crime on the level of treason. Really goes a long way to show how strict the Ob can be with landers, as I assume people in space are less flippant with the kin of the stars, considering that they control all space travel. I mean, we already went through that in the end of Crest of the Stars. Those people that just wanted a ship, and are like, yeah, but you really have to go through us for everything. Yeah, so that is it for all of my notes on this episode. I think I've basically concluded all my thoughts as well. I think most of my thoughts came from the post-episode bit, and the notes are just reconfirming what I felt to be the main talking points of the episode. So yeah, once again, I have been Theta. This has been another episode of Stoneface Reactions, Banner of the Stars 2, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?